We have a long list of research findings and research insights, and it's time to bring everything together. For the sake of this course, we did a quick research for the merchandise store. Of course, when you do the optimization research for your website, you want to spend many hours, days, or even weeks on this research. Because the more and better research you do, the more valuable insights you get, and therefore more successful A/B tests. But we did a rather nice research for the merchandise store. Now, before we come up with test ideas, we will have another look at the hierarchy of evidence. In this lesson, we will start with the top of the pyramid, the meta-analysis. To conduct a meta-analysis, we have to create behavioral hypotheses. So, how does this work? In science, a meta-analysis is an analysis that combines the results of multiple studies. Meta-analyses can be performed when multiple scientific studies address the same question, with each individual study reporting measurements that are expected to have some degree of error. The meta-analysis aims to derive at a pooled estimate closest to the truth. The same applies to conversion rate optimization. A single A/B test can be prone to errors. You could, for instance, have a false positive, meaning the test resulted in a winner, but in reality, there's no difference. We will have a closer look at this in a later lesson on statistics. Your A/B test could also result in a winner, but for a very different reason other than stated in your hypothesis. For instance, for the merchandise store, we could have the hypothesis that social proof early in the customer journey results in higher conversions. Now, if we add social proof just below the slider and it results in a winner, it could be tempting to state our hypothesis is correct. However, maybe it was not the social proof that caused the experiment to win, but pushing these irrelevant product categories to a lower position on the page caused more visitors to convert as they were less distracted by these categories. So a single A/B test can be prone to errors. We, therefore, conduct a meta-analysis to get the closest to the truth about what drives our visitors. And not just that, it will also help you build upon your successes, helping you to become more successful in your work. In the following lessons on prioritization, we will have a closer look at this topic. To conduct a meta-analysis, we first need behavioral hypotheses. Behavioral hypotheses are general hypotheses stating something about the behavior, needs, and motivations of your visitors. To do so, cluster research insights that belong together that state something about your customers' behaviors, needs, and motivations. It should be general statements, not tied to a single adjustment on your website. So, for example, for the merchandise store, we had several research findings and insights indicating that people buy Google merchandise because they love the brand and want to be part of the Google community. In science, we noticed that people identify themselves with a brand when buying merchandise. We also saw merchandise is bought as they want to feel like they belong to a group. And let's say that in a poll, we asked the visitors who converted why they decided to buy merchandise. And one of the essential answers was that these people are a fan of Google. And finally, let's assume in user interviews, we found that customers use many Google products. So an excellent behavioral hypothesis would be that sales will go up when we elaborate on the brand and community feelings. In quantitative data, we found that visitors click back a lot, from the checkout to the cart and the cart to the product pages. This could indicate they are missing information. Furthermore, let's assume customer service gets many questions about shipping, delivery dates, and return policies. And let's assume that in usability tests, we saw people seek information regarding the product itself and shipping. From these findings, we can conclude that visitors need clarity when they buy from the merchandise store. So by providing clarity, sales will go up. Another excellent behavioral hypothesis. Now these are just 2 behavioral hypotheses, but when you do your optimization research, aim for 4 to 10 behavioral hypotheses. Once you got your behavioral hypotheses, use A/B tests to verify or reject them. And this again is the meta-analysis. Like in science, we use several experiments to verify one hypothesis. And of course, I do not mean that we run the exact same A/B test over and over again. Instead, run several A/B tests related to one hypothesis. For instance, for our behavioral hypothesis related to the need for clarity, we could come up with several related A/B tests, like adding product information in one A/B test. In another A/B test, we can add shipping information to the cart. And in another, we can make the return policy stand out on the product detail page. These 3 test ideas all relate to the need for clarity. Once you find yourself an A/B test winner, which verifies a behavioral hypothesis, you could have learned something very valuable about your customers. When you find many winners for one behavioral hypothesis, you know you're on the right track and that you gained valuable insights. So now we use conversion optimization to increase conversions and do research on the needs, motivations, and behaviors of your website visitors. And you can share these learnings with the whole company. Everyone can benefit from your insights. The product teams, innovation, marketing, and even higher management can benefit from what you learned. Now that we have our behavioral hypotheses, we should come up with test ideas. We will cover that in the next lesson. After that, we will prioritize these test ideas, and for the ones with the highest priority, we will craft test hypotheses. This will all be covered in this section. Of course, we want to document our behavioral hypotheses and keep track of how successful they are. In Airtable, I have them right here, in a separate table, linked to the experiments and test ideas table. For every test idea and experiment we will document, we will link it to a behavioral hypothesis in this table. This ensures all results from our experiments are automatically updated in this table, and it helps us see how the behavioral hypotheses are performing. In the gallery view, you get a nice overview to quickly compare the number of experiments, the winners, and the winner's percentage or win rate. Again, if you want to learn how to set up Airtable like this, please check out my free course here on Udemy. You can find a link to it in the lecture resources. Of course, you can also document your behavioral hypothesis in Sheets or another documentation tool of your preference.